So MasterChef's back and we're filming and cooking in a new kitchen. And we're starting things off with Snezana's Serbian Doughnuts. I'm pretty sure you pronounce it Krofne.
So the sugar's dissolved. Now with my yeast, you don't actually have to let it bloom. I was reading on the package and it specifically says that it's not necessary. So I'm just going to tip it in the milk, give it a little mix, and we're going to jump right into the next step. So I've already got my flour measured out. We're just going to add in some salt and we're just going to give that a little mix in. So I've mixed the salt in. I've just made a little well in the center. And now I've got an egg and an egg yolk. Now I'm just going to lightly beat that up because past experience tells me if you just add the egg yolk in there and then try and mix it, it doesn't incorporate as good. So I just like to give them a little head start in the cup. Doesn't have to be too in depth. And that's going to go in to the center like that and get all the egg boogers off of the whisk. I'm going to go in with the zest of a lemon. Also going to go in with some vegetable oil. And finally, the milk with the yeast and the sugar. All goes in. And now we're just going to start bringing that together with a wooden spoon. Well, any utensil actually, but we're just going to start mixing it till it starts to form a dough. So as you can see, I've swapped utensils and I'm using a spatula. But at the moment, my dough is actually looking more like a batter. So I think I need to add more flour because this is not actually a dough yet. So I'm going to sprinkle it a little bit in. And we're just going to mix it in until it actually forms a dough, but just barely. Because it specifically states in the recipe that it should be soft and pliable, but not too sticky. We'll get this mixed in, and then we'll check the consistency of it. So I've mixed that in, and it's still quite sticky, but I think it's going to be just fine. So all in all, I just put another 50 grams of flour into this little cup here, and that's also, I poured about half of it into this batter, and now I'm going to put the rest of it on the board, and we're going to tip the batter out onto this and start kneading it together. After struggling to get that out the bowl because it's so sticky, it's got a bit of flour on my hands. I'm just going to start bringing this together till it forms a dough. Now if there is a bit too much flour on, I'm just going to rake it aside like that, and then I'll bring that bit of flour in if I feel like I need to have a bit more. So we're just going to give it a quick knead with the hands. Also I'm going to mention at this point, all the amounts and ingredients that I'm using currently are going to be on the website traditionalbutnot.com. Plus, you know, a link to the original recipe. I've got the dough to come together. This is a very sticky dough, so be warned if this is your first time really making any doughs. So I've just washed the bowl out a little bit, and now I'm just going to put some oil in there because as this dough rises, because it's so sticky, you're going to need some type of barrier because otherwise it's going to be all stuck all over the bowl. And we're just going to get the dough into the bowl. Then I'm going to cover that up with some cling film, and I'm just going to stick it in the oven with the light on, but the oven off. In the recipe it says around 40 degrees, but with my oven, I'm just going to turn the light on. I don't actually have any heat on there. Cover it with some plastic, and then we're going to wait about 30-40 minutes until this doubles in size. To make the jam, super simple. You're going to add your strawberries that I've cut into quarters into a pot, and going to add your sugar. Now if you're a bit of an eagle eye, you'll notice that I'm making double the amount, which you would be correct, because I made strawberry jam. What doesn't sound good about that? As you can see, just the sugar and the strawberries, you mix it around for a little bit, and it produces its own little liquid here. So we're just going to bring this up to a boil, and then we're going to reduce it to a simmer, and we're going to let this go for about 30 minutes, but just keep your eye on it, come back, give it a little stir every now and again, make sure nothing's burning or sticking. To make the creme patisserie, or custard, you're going to get a saucepan of a medium heat, and you're going to add your milk. Then I've got a vanilla bean here that I've taken the seeds out. And we're going to put the vanilla stalk, I guess you could call it, in there as well. And at this point, we're going to add some sugar. So we're just going to get this all nicely incorporated and bring it almost to a boil. While we're getting this up to not a boil, but just about to a boil, and another bowl, we're going to add the egg yolks, then some sugar, and also spill the sugar all over the rest of the place because, you know, it's how we do. Once you clean the sugar up, I'm going to add the corn flour, and we're just going to give this a little mix in, get it all combined. So I realized that this is completely the wrong utensil to mix this together. Get yourself a spatula and just mix it together with that. It'll make life much easier. Once you've got it all mixed in, it should look a little something like that. Now I'm going to use this. I'm going to pour about a quarter of my milk into the eggs, or just a little bit, and you just want to stir this in. And this is tempering the eggs, so you want to pour just a little bit in, and you want to continually whisk it. Otherwise, you're going to have scrambled eggs on your hands. And sweet scrambled eggs, that doesn't sound too good. So you just want to mix it. I'm going to pour a little bit more of my milk in there. And what this actually does is it brings up the temperature of the eggs without cooking it. So then we can pour it all back into the milk mixture and make a nice custard. I'm going to pour just a little bit more. Once your eggs are tempered, you're going to, on a low heat, you're going to add the eggs back into your pot. And then we're going to keep whisking this on a low heat until it thickens up. My custard thickened up very, very quickly, and it kind of caught me off guard. So I immediately tried to cool the pot down by just putting some cold water into a bowl and then just sitting the pot in there. And now it is quite thick. I'm putting some cold milk in just a little bit at a time and just whisking constantly and trying to thin it out just a little bit. We'll see if it works. I don't know. I've never done this before. It's quite thick, but we're going to try it anyway. So I'm going to add a bit more milk, and then I'm going to turn the stick blender on and try and get it to start mixing it, and then we're going to start adding the butter. So as it's mixing, I'm just going to start slowly adding butter in and mixing it all in. After adding the butter and blending it with the stick blender, I think we might have saved it. Give it a taste. Velvety and smooth. Let's get on with the next step. Once your jam's been, well, your strawberries and sugar have been bubbling away, you should have something like this after about 30 or 40 minutes. I've already zested up some lemon, so I'm just going to bung all that in, and then I'm going to add some lemon juice. Now at the moment I'm just going to add half the lemon juice, and then we'll mix it up, and then we'll give it a taste, and then we'll see if we need to add the other half. We'll give it a bit of a scrape down, and we'll just give it another quick mix. I'll give it a quick taste. For me, that has more than enough lemon flavour to it. I think it's perfect. So we'll set it this side, let it cool down a bit, and yeah, it should thicken up once it cools down a little bit more. So that was more like an hour and a half the dough took to get to doubled in size. This stage. All doughs vary how long they rise depending on, you know, a whole range of matters. Flour goes down on the bench, and then dough comes out. We'll bring it into a bowl like that. A little bit more flour on top and some on the rolling pin. We're just going to roll this out to about 1 centimetre in thickness. So I've got it all rolled out to, you know, you don't have to measure it or anything, but just a nice even thickness all over at around 1 centimetre. Okay, now I've got some extra flour in my little cutter here. You could use a cup, I mean a glass or anything like that. Just something that's around, the original recipe says 10 centimetres. This is 8, but it's going to be fine. So we're just going to go around and cut out as many as we can. So once you got it cut out, and you're going to transfer it over to a tray. I just got some baking paper with a little bit of flour on the bottom, just like that. So we're going to go cut out as many as we can, and we'll transfer them to here. As you can see, got some scraps left over. We're just going to gather this back up, form it back into a ball. I just give it a little bit of a knead so it all incorporates a bit better. And then a little bit of flour around the place again. I'm just going to roll this out and cut some more out. I got my oil up to around 180 degrees. Now I'm just going to pop in my donuts and fry them till they're nice and golden brown. Obviously we were doing these in batches. Yeah, I'll get a 4th one in there. As you can see, they should be puffing up like that. So I'll just give them a bit of a flip so they get browning on both sides. Once your donuts look like that, and I'll remove them from the oil and set them on a tray that's lined with baking paper. It's lined with paper towel, not baking paper. So I'm clearly not a MasterChef, and I'm not very good at piping things. So this is how we're going to do this. I'm going to get a chopstick. I'm going to make a little hole in the top, and then I'm going to get a little funnel. As you can see, I've already attempted this once or twice. I'm going to make a hole with the funnel, move it around a little bit, and then I'm going to get my assistant here to pipe some in there. Okay, that's enough. You're going to have to do this a couple of times to know how much to put in. And then you're going to put the funnel back in, and my jam turned out quite fluid, so I'm just going to funnel it on in there. You're going to spoon some of the jam in, like that, and then you're going to go along, and you're going to do them all like that. So my jam turned out a little runnier than I think it was meant to be, but let's see how much we can get on our face. I might have overfilled this one. Just a little bit, but it tastes damn good.